Hey guys, it's About Beer 30. Let's take a walk into the kitchen and see what's in the fridge today. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Today's beer comes from Temescal Brewing. These guys are out of Oakland, California. This is their Zig Zag, and it's a IPA, basically, guys. And this was sent to me by Austin. And the note here, he says, Zig Zag from Temescal Brewing out of Oakland, California, uses a mobile canning line, so they don't. Those guys don't have a way of dating their stuff, evidently, when they do the mobile canning version. And it says, however, Zig Zag and the Push Pop that we did earlier were both canned on February the 12th. And today is March the 2nd. So, about 3 weeks old. Pretty damn fresh. A lot fresher than what I can get around here, unless I actually go to a brewery and drink stuff on draft. Even some of the times the stuff that's bottled at the brewery, it's been sitting there for just a little while. So depends on how often they run that particular kind of beer. But these guys that can get these beers straight out of the brewery and they're done the day before or whatever, or it amazes me some of you guys can get the beers as fresh as you do. When I'm looking at beer sitting on the shelf at the grocery store down here that's IPAs that are 4 months old. Sad. But anyway, Austin, thanks again, my brother, for sending me this. I do appreciate it. So let's get on with this. Don't know how big these guys are at Temescal. Not a lot of reviews on Rate Beer and Beer Advocate for this brewery, especially this particular beer. So let's see what it brings to the table. I don't have a commercial description other than they use Mosaic and Citra hops, which are the showcase on this beer. So, and both of those are very tasty hops to do an IPA with. This is only a 6.2 or 3%. Let's see what's written on here. 6.3%. So, says here, fresh beer, no jerks. Keep cold, drink soon. And that's what I tell you guys all the time. Don't cellar your IPAs or double IPAs. And I tell you this all the time too. When you see a plain Jane silver can with a stick-on wrap around the label, usually means those guys have concentrated on what's inside this package rather than a lot of fancy artwork. And more and more are going to this, and especially the mobile can lines. They show up with the cans, and the brewery provides the labels to go on them. So I'd rather see this and then a bunch of, and it's nice to see a can. It's got a bunch of colorful artworks, graphics. It's printed on the can, but that costs a lot of money. So I just assume them concentrate and make a better beer than spending a ton of money on fancy cans that's either going to go in the trash or get recycled. So that's where I'm at on it. So let's see where this beer ends up. Like I said, I don't think it's a very big brewery based on the reviews I'm seeing on Beer Advocate and Rate Beer. So let's get this thing popped open. Food pairing cuisine is curry and your Thai. Cheeses, pepper, Monterey, pepper jack, sharp blue cheddar. Your stronger cheeses, gorgonzola, Limburger. And the meat for this is poultry, fish, shellfish, and salmon. And we'll add grilled meat to that. Glass rider, pint, backer, non tumbler, mug, stein, sidel. I'm using my favorite tulip glass. And not recommended for extended salaries, guys. Drink them fresh, just like it says on the can. So, wow, I'm already getting some citrusy notes on this. Nice carbonation on this beer. With that pour, about a finger and a half of head, and it looks like a juice bomb, guys. It's very, very cloudy. A lot of these breweries are brewing this style of beer now, and I love it. A lot of pulpy, juicy goodness to these beers when they do these unfiltered versions. All that stuff comes right into your can or bottle. Very nice. Big flavorful notes on these beers, on this style of beer. I'm going to have to brew me one of these. And I don't filter mine either, but I do a two-stage fermentation where a lot of that's right. I might have to do one, leave it in the fermentation, or get some lupulin powder or something, or read something about how to produce these kind of beers, because I'm not sure how to do it either. Mine are a lot clearer than this, and they're not filtered, but they've been pulled from a primary fermentation vessel into a secondary, where all that stuff falls out after a couple of weeks in each one. So let's get a nose on it. Wow, very citrusy, guys. That smells outstanding, guys. It really, really does. A lot of citrusy notes. Grapefruit and pineapple. I'm getting hints of pine in there. Some lighter fruit notes. Maybe even some oranges and peaches in there. Wow. That smells absolutely freaking delicious. I bet it is. Let's give it a whirl. What do you think? Yeah, let's do it. First beer of the day. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Austin. Ooh, that smells good. Out freaking standing. That's awesome. That is delicious. And know that it was only put in the can 3 weeks ago. Fresh, 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 fresh. And I know these guys, like I said, probably are fairly small. So small that they're using a mobile can line. They're calling in somebody to can this particular version of the beer. So whether they have done bottles before or do bottles, and they're trying to get into doing some canning, and so they brought the mobile canning guy in and had him run this version, I'm not sure. That would be my guess. So really, like I said, not sure how big these guys are and how big the distribution is. You may have to actually go to the brewery on this, and Austin doesn't tell me, I don't think. No, he doesn't tell me exactly how he got possession of this. So if I was guessing, I would say he went there and picked it up. If it's at the store, if it's distributed, which I kind of doubt, it needs to have some kind of date on it. So with him telling me it was done on the 12th, got a feeling he was there and asked that question or found out by going to the brewery itself. So before I run off camera, this is a big 16-ounce can. It's hard to get these in the glass without having it run up to the top rim. I like to leave a little bit of room in there to get my big old nose down in there and get a big whiff of it. But like I said, you can still do a colorful can with your labels like this without spending a ton of money. This is a sticky label that the machine wraps around it and sticks on there, which doesn't cost a ton of money, as opposed to having a can produced with this colorful label actually printed on the can. That costs a lot more money than that label. So I'm more in favor, and you're probably going to see, and I have seen over the last 6 or 8 months, a lot of cans coming out with these stick-on labels instead of actually having the print work on the can. So, well, let's sip on it for a while, let her have a little bit of it, and see where we end up. I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. Been sitting on it about 30 minutes. Very, very tasty. Absolutely superbly well-made beer. As you know, I'm a sucker for these unfiltered juice bombs like this. Awesome lacing is left on the glass. Very citrusy, hints of grapefruit and pineapple, hints of pine, maybe some orange peel in there, and some mango. I'm even getting a little slight hint of some peaches even in there, and lighter fruit notes. So, awesome. Very delicious beer, guys. Would I buy this beer if I could get it here? Absolutely. Absolutely. Final chug. That is delicious, guys. Perfect first beer of the day. Absolutely perfect. Other than them not being able to put a date on it. It's a 10 beer and a 9 can, and even though also told me when it was done, I still, being the date Nazi that I am, would like to see these guys be able to do. If you got a mobile canning service, you need to have a dating machine in your mobile canning service to date those cans. So, but still, like I said, probably only available at the brewery. He did not tell me, but I got a feeling he picked it up there. So, awesome guys. 9 out of 10 is where I'm going to put it. 99 in the scale. It's that close to the 10 to 100. And like I said, not having an actual physical date on it is the only deterrent from keeping me. If it had a date printed on the bottom of the can, this would be a 10 beer. Absolutely delicious. And as I said earlier, only one person has made a comment on Rate Beer, and only one person has made a comment on Beer Advocate. So they don't have any numbers there. Over to Untapped. Untapped has it at 3.97, which is in their category A2. So A from both of us. And not having but one comment on Beer Advocate and Rate Beer tells me they're probably a pretty small brewery. So I hope they continue doing what they're doing and keep producing beers and expand and start distributing this stuff, because this is delicious. Absolutely delicious. I enjoyed this. Alright guys, if you've had this from Temescal Brewing, this is their Zig Zag IPA. Very tasty. Austin, thanks again, my brother. I do appreciate it. Very, very tasty beer. If you've had it, guys, let me know what you think. Come on back tomorrow. Let's take something out of that fridge. See you then.